Bangladesh is in turmoil. Mass protests have swept the nation for weeks. The trigger was a controversial civil service job quota system. This ignited public anger over corruption and authoritarianism. Protests escalated, demanding Prime Minister Hasina's resignation. Dhaka became a battleground. Clashes turned violent, resulting in casualties. Curfews and internet restrictions proved ineffective. The pressure on Hasina intensified. Protesters stormed government buildings, forcing Hasina to flee. In a stunning turn of events, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled Bangladesh, seeking refuge in an undisclosed location. This dramatic exit signified the collapse of her authority and the severity of the crisis gripping the nation. Seizing the opportunity, the army, led by General Waqar-uz-Zaman, stepped in to fill the power vacuum. General Waqar-uz-Zaman swiftly announced the formation of an interim government. Details, however, remained scant. The interim government's mandate, its composition, and its plans for the country's future were shrouded in uncertainty.
While General Waqar-uz-Zaman pledged to hold elections and restore order, a concrete timeline remained elusive. It was unclear which political factions would be allowed to participate and under what conditions. The sudden shift in power from a civilian government to a military-backed interim government raised serious concerns about Bangladesh's democratic future.
The news of Hasina's departure and the military's intervention sent shockwaves through Bangladesh. Reactions were sharply divided. While some celebrated the end of Hasina's rule, others viewed the military's involvement with apprehension, fearing a return to authoritarianism. Images of jubilant crowds celebrating in the streets of Dhaka flooded social media. People could be seen waving Bangladeshi flags, chanting slogans against Hasina's government, and expressing relief at the prospect of change. However, beneath the surface of celebration lay deep divisions and simmering tensions.
The root causes of the protests, corruption, inequality, and the erosion of democratic norms remained unaddressed.
The nation found itself at a crossroads, uncertain of its trajectory and grappling with the implications of this dramatic power shift.
Section 4. The world reacts. The international community watched the unfolding crisis in Bangladesh with growing concern.
Governments and organizations across the globe called for a peaceful resolution and a swift return to democratic rule.
The United Nations urged all parties to exercise restraint, engage in dialogue, and respect human rights.
Neighboring countries, particularly India, braced for potential spillover effects. The prospect of a massive refugee influx from Bangladesh weighed heavily on their minds.
The international community also expressed anxieties over the potential for human rights abuses under the new military-backed regime.
The crisis in Bangladesh presented a complex challenge for the international community, balancing calls for democracy and stability with the need to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe required a nuanced and coordinated response.
The world waited anxiously to see how the situation would unfold.
Section 5. A fragile future. Bangladesh's future hangs in the balance. The country is at a critical juncture, grappling with political uncertainty and economic challenges. The path ahead is fraught with risks. The interim government faces a monumental task. It must navigate a complex political landscape and create conditions for a credible democratic transition. Failure could plunge Bangladesh into deeper turmoil.